Hi everyone, just wanted to do a little video because I've had people asking what's happened since my last video. Did we get out of Peru? Where am I now? So I want to keep it as short and sweet as possible because I don't want to take up too much of your time. But yes, I have made it out of Peru. The government finally arranged a flight for us. It was a commercial flight organised by our government that we had to pay for. It was a 2,550 Australian dollar ticket from Cusco to Santiago to then Melbourne. There was a second flight that went from Lima, Iquitos to Santiago, and then both of those two flights then merged for the one flight Santiago to Melbourne. I just want to do a big shout out to those, and you know who you are, who were working tirelessly behind the scenes constantly while we were in Peru to really push to get us home. You guys, thank you so much. We are great indebted to you. And thank you to everyone watching who have supported, who've sent messages of encouragement, who've shared the video, my videos, shared other people's posts and videos that you know. We all really, really appreciate it. So thank you. Really grateful to be home, and really appreciate all the hard work of all the frontliners who are, are working to help get people home from overseas. But then also those working, keeping us here in quarantine as well. I'd like to make it super clear that I don't have any issue with being in quarantine. It's a process that we must go through, and I think it's good and it's helping the wider community, and that's what we need. However, unfortunately, after 3 to 4 weeks of fighting for what is our human right, we find ourselves in a position again here where I'm having to fight again. And it's very, very frustrating. The information since we got here has been pretty inconsistent. It's either, no, it's the hotel, no, it's the government, no, it's the hotel, no, it's the government. Make up your minds, guys. Someone take responsibility and just put things in place. And the communication's been really poor. And I think it's actually even been poor for the hotel staff themselves, for the Department of Health staff themselves. I think we're all feeling it, and that must just come down to poor organisation. The food. So the food hasn't been enough for some, or many I should say. I know it hasn't been enough for me. And the quality of the food has not been up to scratch at all. We've travelled a long way. It's been a very arduous journey, and to then turn up and not be allowed to order food in that we want to get delivered. We're at the mercy of the 3 meals served to us every day. If you don't like it, if it's incorrect, you don't have much choice, which is not very nice. It's not a nice feeling. And as you're all aware, we're not allowed to go outside. We don't have windows that open, so we don't have access to fresh air. So the combination of all of these things is really having an impact on people's mental health. The government has an obligation to us to rectify this and communicate it. Take ownership of the fact that this has not been handled the best way that it could have been. It's not being managed the best. There are things that you can do to put in place to make it just that little bit more comfortable for people. We have not done anything wrong, yet it feels like we are being punished. There is no compassion. Where is the humanity? For those of you currently living in the comfort of your home and you have not gone through this hotel quarantine process, I have to say, you have no idea what it's like. You simply don't. I'm not saying that you're not sacrificing in this situation, in this pandemic, and that people aren't hurting in different ways. They are. But I'm talking about this specific process and experience that I'm going through being in quarantine in a hotel post coming from overseas. And you can't understand what it's like until you're in this position. And yes, it needs to be done. Yes, I'm happy to do it, but it could be done in a much more humane and better way. On day one, on the day that we arrived, a mother had to call the police in order to get food delivered for her baby. Can you imagine coming off a long-haul flight from South America to Australia to land and get to the hotel? Let's just say they arrived in their room by about 7, 8 o'clock, so 4 or 5 hours after landing on the tarmac, to then not have anyone deliver any food after asking and asking and asking until 4 or 5 p.m. in the afternoon. You tell me if that's humane or not. So where we're at now, we're in day 4 of quarantine here in Melbourne, and we've made a little bit of progress. Woolworths grocery orders that we can place online have started to arrive as of yesterday. And we've also been allowed to order Uber Eats. So it's a small win, but it's a small win that does mean a lot because it's giving people control over what they're eating and making them feel a bit more comfortable. So we have another 11 days to go, so yay. Let's get through this quarantine.